Hey guys, hope you're doing good today. Well, Bitcoin has been on a bit of a roller coaster over the last couple of days. Just yesterday, we passed the 10,000 value per Bitcoin mark. It pushed all the way up almost to 13,000, which just happens to be when I sold some of my Bitcoin. And then today, it's back down to $9,400 per Bitcoin. So we're seeing a huge roller coaster, but there's still a lot of hype around Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and I've been getting a lot of questions about that. So I thought I'd address my thoughts on Bitcoin. Is it hype? Is it going to be mainstream? And if it's going to be mainstream, what is it going to take to be mainstream? Now, before we get into any more of this, I want to make it clear that none of what I'm saying is a recommendation that you should invest in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. That's a decision you have to make in and of your own accord and based on your own information. I'm just sharing my personal opinions and my personal thoughts. I have bought into Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, I bought into it back when it was around 6,700 per Bitcoin. And as I said just yesterday, I sold some of mine and doubled my money. But that doesn't mean that's what you're going to be able to do. Again, we're seeing a huge roller coaster in the value of Bitcoin particularly, and it's fluctuating all over the place. About 5 years ago, I got asked to speak to a group of credit union executives at the C level. They were really curious what Bitcoin was, what blockchain was, and where this was going to go. And my message back then was pretty simple. That Bitcoin was a fad, but it was a fad that wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. The real key at the time in my mind for Bitcoin to be accepted mainstream was for it to voluntarily agree to have some level of regulation imposed on it, whether that was through the banking industry or any other regulatory bodies, the CFPB, any of those, that voluntarily doing some of that would allow the cryptocurrencies to be taken more seriously. Back then, we were seeing all kinds of bad news about cryptocurrencies. You had the Mt. Gox issue, just Google that, that's G-O-X. You had reports of people using cryptocurrencies for illicit affairs through things like the Silk Road. All you got to do is Google it, you'll find all the negative stories. And so that was creating a lot of concern about the use of cryptocurrencies. And of course, Bitcoin is always seen as the front runner in that in cryptocurrencies. So for it to be mainstream, it's going to have to voluntarily agree to be regulated. That was my thought back then, and I still kind of stick to that. Now, I understand that the idea of being regulated goes against the purpose of cryptocurrencies in the first place. The idea is that as cryptocurrencies pass across the blockchain and other mechanisms, those mechanisms in and of themselves create some level of validation and things. But what you have to understand is it's the banking industry that has consumers already understanding how things work, and the banking industry has the trust of those consumers. At least most consumers trust the banking industry. So for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to be considered mainstream, I think they're a little bit mainstream already, but we're seeing a wide range of use and understanding of them right now. But for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to gain even more mainstream recognition, we're going to have to see a couple of things. First, we're going to have to see the volatility in the value of those cryptocurrencies settle out a bit. We can't have days like we had yesterday where Bitcoin pushes all the way up to 13,000 and we see a 50% drop or somewhere around that. We have to see at least some level of settling in the value of shares or coins. We also need to have trust built in. Consumers need to understand what Bitcoin is, what blockchain is, and they need to trust that that is being used in a non-illicit way. So we have to have some settling of volatility, and we've got to get some trust. Now, one of the ways the cryptocurrency industry can do that is using something out of the playbook of the other fintech companies, financial technology solutions, startups out in the industry. For a long time, fintech companies like LendingTree and all these other companies started to come to the marketplace, and they bring great solutions and they solve a lot of problems. What those fintech companies have struggled with is the acquisition of customers And then once they even have customers, they're struggling a little bit, some of them have, with growth of customers because those solutions aren't as trusted as other entities like banks. So what I'm suggesting is that for the cryptocurrency industry, to make it truly mainstream is the settling of volatility, and for those things to be used as currency. Currently, a lot of these things are just speculative investments at this point. They are being exchanged as currency. Even CNBC Squawk Box just today did an episode talking about how landlords through a service called ManageGo can now accept Bitcoin as rent. So cryptocurrencies are being used as true currencies, but mostly, most people see them as a speculative investment at this point. The way for them to get around that is to take a play out of the fintech company's playbook and actually consider partnering with some financial institutions and or, again, back to my early opinion 5 years ago, at least offer up some sort of voluntary oversight and or regulation, and then we'll see the trust factor increase. Consumers will be able to use them more as currency more often and not just as a speculative investment, and we'll see things settle down and we'll see more wide adoption in the marketplace. I don't think this is a fad. I don't think cryptocurrencies are going anywhere, and I do think long term we'll see them being used more and more as currency, but they've got to change a little bit about what they're doing and in order to be more accepted by your common average person out there that just doesn't study these type of things. Hope that helps you a little bit. Again, make your own investment choices when you're looking at these type of things, but it's something to consider. If you are interested in investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, I will recommend a service I have personally been using. I'm not an affiliate, so I get no sort of kickback. But if this is something you're considering doing, check out Coinbase. They have a nice, easy to use solution. It's easy to get started, and you can buy pieces of 3 different types of cryptocurrencies. That would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Hope that information helps you, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.